What is good, y'all? Welcome back to the Report. Welcome back to a brand new video. We are here. We are back, and we have a very, very, very big game coming up tonight against the Sacramento Kings. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things. We're going to be talking about the offensive scheme that we're going to be trying to play with going forward. Some encouraging stuff that we saw last game. Discourse about Bam versus Hero. Giannis Antetokounmpo rumors to the Heat. A lot of that stuff. And make sure y'all drop a like, subscribe until the end of the video. Subscribe if you guys are new. Let's get right into it. So, yeah, it was a good win we're coming off of against the Wizards in Mexico City. Great atmosphere, by the way. Shout out to everybody who pulled up over there. It was great to hear the cheers, especially when Jaime had the ball. They were going wild for Jaime over there, so I love to see Jaime getting his love as well. But yeah, it was a really good game. Obviously, the Wizards are not a good team. So it was expected that we were supposed to win that game anyway. And I did call it against the Knicks that we would bounce back against the Wizards because Spo would lay into them or something like that would happen. They'd get a reaction. But now is about the big test. Like, we have 4 games coming up against real high-quality opposition. The Kings, the Timberwolves, the Nuggets, and the Suns. On paper, those teams are all playoff teams in the Western Conference. We've struggled primarily against Western Conference teams. I'm not going to lie. We've over the past years, we've always struggled against Denver. We've only beaten them once, and that was in the finals game 2 over the past 5-6 years. And then we always have been struggling against Minnesota. We've always struggled against Phoenix. Kings of the one team that we've actually managed to find some success against. But those 4 games are going to be tough. The Kings are coming off of a loss against the Toronto Raptors, who are not that great themselves, and they're going to be pretty mad about that. DeMar probably going to have some motivation after the Drake stuff. But yeah, in all seriousness, they are going to be very, very hungry to try to come back from their disappointing loss in Toronto. Now, this is a home game, so thankfully it's not in the West Coast. We won't have to deal with away crowd or lighting the beam, any of that stuff. We're going to be in our home arena, so it's not going to be a late game or any of that. So it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game, and we have to talk about some stuff that I want to see. So I have to address some comments, some concerns, some topics that I've been seeing on Reddit, on Twitter, on social media regarding Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero. I feel like a lot of people are trying to just I don't know why people do this. I don't know why people try to put our own players against each other. It's not about Bam versus Tyler. It's not about Jimmy versus Terry. It's not about Jaime versus Nico. It's about the Heat versus whoever we're playing. So we have another team that we're trying to play against tonight, and people are worried about who's taking the most shots on the team. To me, I understand what people are trying to say when Bam has a good game and when Tyler doesn't, we win. But I don't think that's necessarily true. I just think that when Bam and Jimmy touch the ball the most on the team, we win. I just feel like that is the underlying factor. It's not about, if Tyler Hero, doesn't take shots, we win. No, I think that's pretty unfair to Tyler. I'm not going to lie, because Tyler's been our best player this season, and he's been the only one who showed up in every single game this year. So I'm not going to, go in on Tyler because Bam had a good game. I don't think there's much of a correlation with the fact that Tyler Hero didn't shoot the ball well or didn't shoot the ball, so we won. I think it's because Bam touched the ball and Jimmy touched the ball more than our backcourt. Over the past few games, it's been our backcourt that have been running the offense. The TNT backcourt, Tyler and Terry, have been touching the ball. They've been, they've been having the ball in their hands more than any 2 players on our team, and that's been good for them. But it's hurt our 2 best players, and the reason is Jimmy and Bam are not effective without the ball in their hands. Tyler and Terry can be effective without the ball in their hands, which is why the simple formula and the simple thing that makes common sense is to have the ball in our 2 best players' hands, because not only are there our 2 best players, it also maximizes our 2 best players, because they're our best players and they're our most effective players with the ball in their hands. So that's not me saying that Jimmy and Bam have to take the most shots. Tyler can still lead the team in shots, or Terry can still lead the team in shots. But touches and possessions with the ball in their hands has to be led by Jimmy and Bam. That is what I think the correlation is with all this. I don't think, people should be going in on Tyler. I don't think people should be putting the 2 players against each other. Listen, these 2 players have been a part of our young core for a while now. And it's very unfair to either one to say that when one doesn't shoot the ball, we win, or when one shoots the ball, we win. It has nothing to do with that. The only thing that it has anything to do with is the fact that Jimmy and Bam were aggressive, and we were making it a concerted effort to get the ball to these players the other night. If we get the ball to Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler and play through them, our offense will look a lot better than if we do not do that. That was the one problem I had with Spo's offense, was that Tyler and Terry, as good of offensive players they are, Jimmy and Bam are that much limited without the ball in their hands. Bam was looking lost. Jimmy was looking lost. Like, they did not know what to do. And credit to people who are saying that some of that is on them, because I do agree. They should be demanding the ball if they are not getting the ball. But I think a lot of that is also to do with the coaching staff, who are trying to put the ball in the backcourt's hands and see what we could do there. Now, obviously, I don't think that's the best way to go because of the reasons I just mentioned. Jimmy and Bam are the most effective players on our whole team when they have the ball. And they are not as effective, not nearly as effective when they do not have the ball. Whereas Tyler Hero and Terry Rozier, I think, can be effective in both ways. So, Jimmy and Bam need to have the ball in their hands. They are two best players when they have the ball in their hands, like I said a million times just now. And that's that. That is that. And I hope that trend continues tonight. I think Bam being aggressive bodes well for this team. I think Jimmy being aggressive bodes well for this team. And just putting pressure on the defense. They are our two best players at putting pressure on the rim, Jimmy and Bam. They are our two best players who will lead the team in free throw attempts. They will get to the paint more than any other player on our team, and these are all reasons as to why these two should have the ball more than any other player on our team. Because putting pressure on the rim, getting into the paint, forcing help defense and forcing rotations and forcing double teams, all of that is going to lead to wide open shots for some of our spacers like Tyler and Terry and Nico. Whereas if Tyler and Terry try to do the same thing, they're not as effective at getting the ball inside of the paint. Now, they've definitely improved. Like, Tyler has been really good at getting the ball to the rim this season, but he's nowhere near the level that Jimmy and Bam are when it comes to putting pressure on the defense at the rim. So, and vice versa, Jimmy and Bam are not the floor spacers that Tyler Hero and Terry Rozier are. So, it just makes the most sense if we have the two best players on the team who are also the two best players at putting pressure in the paint and forcing reactions from the defense, having the ball in their hands the most. So that is my 2 cents on the whole situation. I feel like the touches per game are what really matters, not the shot attempts and not who shoots more, who shoots better, whatever that. None of that, in my opinion, is what matters. It's who touches the ball more, who will bring the ball up the floor, who will control the tempo of the offense. Jimmy and Bam have to take the reins of that. That is what I feel about the whole offensive, system and the scheme and what people are saying online. So we can move on from that. I hope that we show similar things that we showed against Washington. Obviously, Sacramento is a much better team. But I do want to see Bam aggressive. I feel like he always takes it personal against Sabonis. I feel like Bam always shows up against him. So hopefully that's the case again. Hopefully he will continue to show up against Sabonis, especially Kings fans were talking crazy about Bam before, so I hope Bam shuts them up. But yeah, that's my take about the offense in general, and hopefully we come to work. De'Aaron Fox is a big. He's probably going to be the best guard. No, actually, no. We faced Jalen Brunson. Never mind. Disregard that. He is a big matchup problem, though. He's a matchup nightmare, and the backcourt's going to have their hands full defensively for sure. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. One more thing I want to talk about. I've seen a lot of rumors about Giannis. The Bucks are 1-5, and people are saying that Giannis could potentially request a trade. And if he were to request a trade, the Heat would be on his number one favorite teams to go to. Now, listen, I'm not really gonna take too much of this seriously. I understand we're kind of desperate right now for anything, but listen, in order for this to happen, first Giannis would have to request a trade. As bad as the Bucks have been to start the season, Giannis doesn't seem like a guy who will just jump ship that right away. He's been a loyal guy to Milwaukee. He's probably one of the top two players in their franchise history. Him and Kareem. It would take a lot for him to request a trade, in my opinion. I don't think he would just do it so hastily, even after a 1-5 start. I think it would take him a while. And the number two if you were to request a trade, I don't think Miami would have anywhere near the assets required to go out and get him. I mean, if we didn't have the assets required to go get Dame or Mitchell or Harden or any of these players or Kyrie or like any of these players you were supposedly interested in, then how would we have how would we have the assets for a top 3 player, a top 2 player in all of basketball? How? It doesn't make any sense to me. We don't have anywhere near the assets required. I mean, the Bucks asking price would start with Bam Adebayo. And guess what? That's where the Heat would hang up right then and there. They would not trade away Bam Adebayo because Bam is the cornerstone of this team. He's pretty much untouchable for any player in Miami's eyes. So the Heat will never trade Bam. The Bucks will never trade Giannis without asking for Bam if they're trading him to Miami. So it's going to be just at a stalemate. It's going to be like Portland again. And this time Giannis is a much better player than Dame, so his asking price is going to be a lot higher. So I don't think it's going to happen. I would not get my hopes up. If I was a Heat fan, I would just temper my expectations. I would take all of this with a grain of salt. If it does happen, I'll be overly ecstatic, but I'm not expecting it to happen. I've been let down too many times by this front office when we've been linked to trade targets over and over again. And frankly, we just don't have the assets on this one for sure. Like we just don't. On the Dame one, I felt like we did have a couple of pieces that we could go get him. I thought our offer was significantly better than what they received in the trade that they actually ended up doing. But in this trade, with a potential trade for Giannis, I mean, I'm looking at a team like OKC who can just unload the farm to go get him. And there's other teams that will have a boatload of draft capital and some young assets like the Pacers who can also go get him as well. Like, it's going to be very tough for the Heat to go get Giannis. We don't have cap space. We don't have much tradable contracts besides Hero and Duncan, and we don't have draft capital. So those are the 3 things that are required if you want to go get a star, and we don't have any of those things. So it'll be tough. It'll be really tough to go get Giannis. Obviously, you're not going to want to trade Bam. You're not going to want to trade Jimmy. You're going to try to want to pair Giannis with those 2 players. But the only players you can really trade are what? Hero, Rozier, Duncan, and your 2 picks. And even if you throw in a Khalil Ware, he hasn't played this season. If you can throw in a Nikola Jovic or Jaime Jaquez. But have any of those 2 showed that they can be like one of the essential parts of a Giannis Antetokounmpo package? I don't think so. So I don't think this is going to happen. I would really, like I said, just temper my expectations if I was a Heat fan and just focus on the team we have right now because I think, first of all, it'll take a lot for Giannis to even want out of Milwaukee. He's been so loyal to that city. He strikes me as a guy who wants to be in Milwaukee for life. And second of all, even if he were to request a trade, I don't think Miami's anywhere near any of the top teams who will have the assets to go get him. Even if he says, I want to go to Miami specifically, the Bucks do not have to honor that request, especially if the package is not as good as what they might be getting from other teams. And we saw that happen with Portland. Dame wanted to exclusively be here, and they don't really care about that. They just wanted to do what's best for them. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. You guys let me know in the comment section, man, if you guys think we have a realistic chance of getting him. I don't, which is why I'm not going to really get too excited about this. But we'll see. We'll see what happens on that front. But right now, we just have to focus on the team we have and this tough stretch that's about to come upon us with these 4 West Coast teams, or Western Conference teams. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, we get the W tonight. Cannot wait. And also, college basketball is back. I'll be trying to make a lot more college basketball videos. I love college basketball. That's how I get in tune with all the prospects. That's how I became a Bilal Coulibaly fan before he broke out like this, and other players like that. So, listen, college basketball, cannot wait for that to start as well. And cannot wait for the Heat to play tonight against the Kings. We'll be very excited to see what happens. Hopefully we get the dub, and hopefully we build on the momentum from the other night's win. And yeah, you guys let me know down your score predictions and your record predictions for these upcoming 4 games. I'll see you later as always. Peace.